Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners, to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. It is a Pewter postgame show as we are discussing the Bucs falling to the Falcons by a score of 31-26, in which it was very competitive. The Bucs were in it, but ultimately did not have enough answers by the end of the game. So we're going to recap it all right now. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is my fellow co-host and the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR Scott Reynolds. Scott is live from Raymond James Stadium. Scott, the Bucs are just chaotic. I don't know what else to say about them. They are a chaotic football team.
Especially on the defensive side, Matt. That's the most disappointing thing, right? I mean, you saw the Falcons put up, 24 points at halftime? And while Tampa Bay did make some adjustments, namely getting Tyreek Funderburk, the undrafted free agent rookie, out of there and replaced by Josh Hayes, who I got to go back and watch the film. And Todd Bowles, when I asked him about that after the game, he says, I got to go back and watch it, but certainly wasn't giving up the plays like Funderburk was at the beginning of the game. And this time it really wasn't Drake London that was the main culprit. It was right off the bat with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
And it was National Tight End Day. And boy, did Kyle Pitts and Cade Otton wind up celebrating today. They both had tremendous games.
Right.
Each had two touchdowns apiece. But it really, when you look at the play of Pitts, you got that first touchdown on Kayvon Merriweather, and that kind of set the tone, really got Kirk Cousins into a rhythm early on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Once again, tight ends just running roughshod on the Buccaneers. You saw it with the Ravens on Monday, which seems like a lifetime ago, even though it was still technically this week. We've seen it in other games. Pitts did it the first game in Atlanta on Thursday night, and then he did it again today. I mean, he was having a Randy Moss against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving type of game at one point. Where he had 4 catches for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. At one point, he was 2 catches for 83, with both of those being scores. Once again, I mean, Kirk Cousins didn't throw for 500 yards, but they really didn't have many answers. The pressure was not there. Yes, C.J. Brewer had a sack, and that was very nice. I'm very surprised. And maybe I'm not surprised because his defense is awful. But the Bucs found some success. There was one play, it was a third down. They sent the house. They sent everybody after Kirk Cousins, and it led to, I believe it led to an incomplete. It didn't lead to the Falcons completing a pass and getting a first down, which they did on pretty much every other play.
Yeah.
But I was curious why they didn't go back to just sending the house when nothing else was working for them. And of course, this is such a lame duck way for Todd Bowles to be like, hey, I made some changes. I went from Tyreek Funderburk to Josh Hayes. Get out of town. Yes, it was important. And that was a change that needed to be made. But there are more changes that need to be done. And I feel like this is kind of like a cop-out way to say, hey, I'm doing something, but it's clearly not the right answer.
Well, yeah, and it was too little too late, right? The problem is with Funderburk was that he just lost his composure, didn't make some plays. And, here you see KJ Britt, who was one of the culprits for those, one of the 2 Kyle Pitts touchdowns. Funderburk gave up a couple scores. And again, you can't allow a team like the Falcons to just put up 24 points at halftime, right? Especially when you don't have the firepower of Mike and Chris to really battle back. And the thing is I think Tampa Bay did a hell of a job. They were a Hail Mary away from winning this game. So you have to appreciate the fight there. But Matt, we had 2 sacks today, from both of which by C.J. Brewer, of all people. The first one was kind of a gimme. Kirk Cousins looked like a botch play and started to kind of scramble around and got touched down by C.J. Brewer. Then Brewer came through and had a really nice sack. He was a guy that you and I were kind of lobbying for to make the team to begin with, because he had a really good preseason. Then he had a nice stop on 3rd and 1. To be honest with you, he made more plays than Kalijah Kancey did today. And also Yaya Diaby. Those guys each had 1 quarterback hit and a total of 5 tackles between 2 of them. And so I don't know. He's not getting the play from his players. It's on the players themselves. It's also on the coaches to get this figured out. We almost saw a play when Antoine Winfield Jr. looked like he punched out the ball right at the goal line. And here you see Todd Bowles chewing out the ref saying, man, you've got to give Antoine Winfield Jr. the benefit of the doubt, don't you? He does this for a living, man.
He's done it before. He's done it several times.
Yeah. Football is a game of inches. And I think had the ball maybe hit at the goal line rather than inside the goal line, the problem is the camera angle was not right down the goal line. And so that's when I asked Todd, what did the ref say? He said, we didn't have that sideline shot that would have really overturned the call.
And you know what? Shame on the NFL. This is a billion-dollar company, and you're telling me you don't have the pylon cam or whatever the case may be? Like, get out of town with this. I feel like the NFL just has stupid things like still using chains to decipher whether or not it's a first down. I feel like they strictly have that in place just so people can still argue and complain about the refs and complain about calls, or else people would not have anything to discuss about. The other thing, and I know like this doesn't help the Bucs or anything like that, but the lazy, lackadaisical play by Kyle Pitts to just be like, la-di-da-di-da, I'm going to walk into the end zone. Like, I would be screaming at Kyle Pitts if, if I was Raheem Morris. That deserves a benching of not the whole game, but maybe like the next series. Like, what the F are you doing, dude? But yeah, nonetheless,
listen, if you want to be lackadaisical and nonchalant, do it 5 yards in the end zone. Strut around in the end zone once you're there.
That was Leon Lett. That was Leon Lett. Everybody remembers Leon Lett famously twice for the Dallas Cowboys. Just unbelievable. And, credit to Antoine Winfield Jr. never giving up on a play. But let's also remember, like, Kyle Pitts was only in that position because he made a catch and ran it down the field and scored a touchdown on the play. The Bucs just all over the place have no answers on defense, and I don't know what the solution is at this point because Levante David got injured. They brought in J.J. Russell. Antoine Winfield Jr. is an all-pro. He's an all-pro. He's one of the best safeties in the league, and yet it does not matter. It did not matter. Kirk Cousins still carved up the Buccaneers once again. What did he throw for 4 touchdowns in this game?
Yeah,
unbelievable. Some of it's on the players, but you know what? I'm not done with Yaya Diaby, but I'm done with giving him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's going to figure it out. It's going to work out because we're 8 weeks in now and we've seen nothing. It's been brief glimpses of Yaya Diaby. So tons and tons of issues for this Bucs defense.
Yeah, really. And seeing any type of scheme win on defense, right? And I think that's the thing is when you don't have the players, or if you have some players that are banged up or whatever the case may be, you need to kind of manufacture some plays on defense, right? You need to scheme some sacks, those types of things. Look at what happened on the offensive side of the ball, right? By comparison, we'll get to, putting Todd Bowles' feet to the fire in just a second, but we have to give some credit where credit is due. Liam Cohen comes into this game without 50% of his passing yards, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin coming out. Or being out, I should say. Mike out for the next 3 games, Chris out for the season. And the Buccaneers offense really could move the ball almost at will against Atlanta's defense. There were a couple of hiccups, a couple of false starts by Tristan Wirfs didn't help out, right? Baker Mayfield. I don't want to say either one of those plays was bad. I mean, Jesse Bates is a Pro Bowler for a reason. He went up and got that ball.
Great interception.
Great interception by him, right? Against Ryan Miller. Should he have thrown the ball? I mean, listen, you got to give your guys a chance to make a play, and I thought that he had a chance to make it. It's just that Jesse Bates is really good at what he does. He also came up with the forced fumble and fumble recovery. I mean, Jesse Bates is a Pro Bowler for that reason, right? And A.J. Terrell came off of his guy. He should not have been in coverage, but he read the play, came off his guy, and Baker Mayfield was half a second away from having a big play, almost a touchdown on that throw. But again, going back to Liam Cohen and what he was able to do without Mike and Chris, 432 yards, 9 of 14 on third down, 64%. They put up 24 points today out of the team's 26 on offense. In the first game and trying to figure this out, we saw the pony package. We saw 3 backs on the field at the same time with Sean Tucker, with Bucky Irving, and Rashad White. if I have maybe one critique about the play calling, I still would like to see a little bit more of Sean Tucker. Right, this is a guy
Yes.
that had 3 touches today, 2 carries, and of course they were backed up by the goal line. I'd like to see. He had 1 catch for 9 yards. There was, listen, when you're backed up, that they're going to run the ball, right? The Falcons were scheming for that. So he had 2 carries for, I think, 3 yards. I think he should have got more touches. He's the fastest player in offense. He's a big play waiting to happen. The catch he had was 9 yards. We were criticizing the Bucs for only giving him 6 touches last week, or I should say on Monday night. He only had 3. And you got to find ways to give him the ball. And I'm not taking anything away from Rashad or from Bucky. Both of those guys played relatively well today. But that's my only critique. And I can't really pick on Liam Cohen anymore because he made something out of almost nothing offensively. And I thought he did a really good job with the play calling. Again, they're a Hail Mary away from winning this game. And if Baker Mayfield doesn't chuck the ball out of bounds, we saw Raheem Jarrett come up with that ball. And I thought Raheem Jarrett stepped up today.
Yeah, he didn't end up catching it. Jarrett made a nice catch before that, too, down the field. But, yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you, Scott, is were you surprised that we didn't see more of Sean Tucker, especially, and don't get me wrong, Rachaad White played very well. I think Bucky Irving, outside of Cade Otton was the best player for the Bucs today.
He was, no
on
doubt.
Offense or defense. I would say Bucky Irving was second without question. But Rachaad White did fumble the football on the first drive. So I'm not saying he should be benched for the rest of the game or whatever that means. But I don't know. Typically, you kind of go to the other guy or the other 2 guys in that type of situation where a player fumbles on the first drive of the game. I was, again, Sean Tucker won NFC Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden, he can't sniff the football? That was a little bit surprising. But overall, I'm happy with what the offense did today. Yeah, it wasn't enough. And it was way too casual, way too slow when they got the ball with a minute left. I'm surprised they didn't spike it with about 30 seconds left. I know Baker hit the shot down the field, but at that point, you had 9 seconds.
You got to spike it.
That was about the game. But besides that point, they were terrific running the football. They were great with that. Yeah, the receivers didn't really do too much, but Cade Otton stepped up, and Cade Otton somehow turned into Rob Gronkowski. I guess that was his Halloween costume this year. He just went as Gronk because he was incredible as a receiver. This team still scored 26 points without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That should win you a lot of games. So, and even the flea flicker, we had T-Krez on. T-Krez said that, he thought Liam Cohen was getting a little too cute with the flea flicker. I understand that point, but at the same time, Baker just needs to make the right throw. I understand it was a jump ball and everything, but if the guy's not open, you don't have to go deep. I know traditionally you go deep on a flea flicker. You didn't have to in that situation. You could have found someone else. You could have thrown it away, whatever the case may be, because the Bucs had momentum at that moment, running it. I would have been fine when the game was still, a one-possession game. I would have been fine if they never threw another pass for the rest of the game. The way that they were running the football, it was absolutely incredible. But, the way that the game went, that didn't dictate it. But I think the Bucs, the sky is close to falling, but it hasn't hit the ground just yet because this running game, I think, can keep the Bucs in every single game.
I agree. There's some balance here. Baker Mayfield's up to 20 touchdown passes now for the season, I believe. This offense still has some dynamic qualities without Mike and Chris. And, it doesn't look good, right? The next 2 games at Arrowhead on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say going up against Patrick Mahomes because, he's going to feast on this Todd Bowles defense that just has fallen apart at the seams. But it's the defense that scares me. Kansas City's a defensive team now. Steve Spagnuolo, Joe Cullen, that Bucs defensive line with Chris Jones up front, George Karlaftis. It's going to be hard to win that game. And then you come back, and the 49ers are not maybe what they have been in years past, but it's still Kyle Shanahan versus Todd Bowles. And on that matchup alone, I mean, advantage Shanahan. So there's a 4-6 record staring at this team in the face, I think. But here's the thing. Again, this team was a Hail Mary, and it wasn't like a 50-yard Hail Mary. It was like a 35-yard Hail Mary away from getting an upset win. And this team hung in there. This is week 1 of Liam Cohen trying to figure this out. Now he has some film on what worked and what didn't work without 12 or without 14.
Well, and 14, 13, previously 12.
14 and 13, exactly, yeah. So now he can see what he has. You look at the chessboard now. Now you have the pieces that you're left with, and he can kind of start figuring out what worked, what didn't, and then where we need to get the ball more to. I was, out of all of the receivers, to be perfectly frank with you, Raheem Jarrett is the one who stood out to me. I just wasn't terribly impressed with Jalen McMillan. 4 catches, 35 yards, 13-yard grab. Sterling Shepard, 3 catches, 18 yards. He left with the hamstring. He came back. Trey Palmer, 2 catches, 29 yards. I mean, Raheem Jarrett is the guy that I would want to see more of. And I hate to say it, Ryan Miller, I'd like to see a little bit more of him. 3 catches, 19 yards. He looks like kind of a dirty work, third down guy, maybe in that Adam Humphries role from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You need 4 yards. He gets you 5. You move the chains. So we'll see what happens going forward. I'm encouraged by that. I think Liam Cohen makes this team worth watching going forward, along with the likes of Baker Mayfield and the 3-headed monster at running back, which really needs to be more 3-headed. It's only 2-headed now. It's the Rashad and Bucky show. But you got to put Sean Tucker in the mix there a little bit, and maybe we see more of that going forward. In the defense, gosh, man, it's star players that are not making plays. I mean, they need some star power. They need Yaya Diaby and Kalai Hansi to come through with some sacks. They need some turnovers from Levante David and Antoine Winfield Jr. Jordan Whitehead at times looks like a spectator out there. I thought Christian Izien played well today. I know Britt had 10 tackles, but that was mostly in the run game, where that's his strong suit. He's not good in pass coverage. So I don't know. Todd Bowles, if the defense doesn't get fixed, guess what? You're the defensive play caller. It's your side of the ball. And if there's some changes that need to be made, I mean, this could encompass the head coach at the end of this year too. A lot of football to be played, but I'm just saying, like, we're on the train tracks, Matt. We see the light coming, right? And we either need to like get off the track, or like it's going to get ugly. And going up against Patrick Mahomes next week, and Kyle Shanahan's office the week after that. By the time this team gets to the bye week, if they haven't figured it out then, if they figure it out the bye week, God, man, they might have to run the table or hope that the Falcons implode. Atlanta's got a 4-0 record in the division now.
They do, and 2 games over the Bucs, so now they have to have a 1-game lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the biggest indictment is the defense not showing up, and that's a major issue. I'm more concerned about that than I am the Buccaneers offense. But let's start getting to these super chats. Thanks to everybody that's hanging with us. We know it was a tough game today, but we'll start off with Paul Morales. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. As Paul says, defense first half and Baker second half sums up this game, in my opinion. However, we have some players on the offense outside of Evans and Godwin.
Kadon's changing my mind, man. You know, he's not the most dynamic tight end in the league, but he's effective. And I got to give the guy his props. I said he's more of like a number 2 tight end. I don't know. He's looking more and more like Cam Brate to me with these types of performances. He's sure-handed. He's making plays. He's getting open. Maybe he becomes a Cam Brate type here. It looks that seems to be the trajectory. He's now stacked back-to-back games together. That's encouraging going forward. And I think he's now an integral part of this offense. He's got Baker Mayfield's trust, and he's making plays.
No doubt about it. And he took another shot today again, too. Not as many shots as against the Ravens, but he took another very difficult hit and held on to the football. Yeah. And along with the passing game, outside of Kate Otten, what you were talking about before with Raheem Jarrett, something seems a little off with Jalen McMillan still. Like, I feel
Yeah.
the same way about Jalen McMillan that I do with Rashad White in terms of, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem full speed. Something seems a little bit off. But Rakim Jarrett, to his credit,
Yeah.
he just came back, but he looks the part. Like, he looks like
he does.
a functional wide receiver that should be in the game plan every single week. So hopefully Rakim Jarrett can continue to do that. Thanks to Hammy Actual for this $4.99 super chat. The worst part about losing to Kirk Cousins, a Kirk Cousins-led team, is you just know he's in the locker room right now trying to crank that Soldier Boy.
True. Yes. And looking like the whitest version of that as well.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, to the victor go the spoils. He's 2-0 against the Buccaneers. That
you don't
the
like
Falcons
it, then beat him.
the Falcons brought Kirk Cousins in here to win the division. And right now he's doing that by defeating and sweeping the defending NFC South champions. And they're in the driver's seat. And it's going to take a hell of an effort by the Buccaneers. And it's going to take a collapse by the Falcons for the Buccaneers to win a fourth straight division title. It's a long season. Maybe the Falcons get bit by the injury bug the way the Buccaneers have. That's probably what you have to hope for now, because you need some help. Now the destiny is not in your hands. You got to go out and win a lot of games, but you have to hope that the Falcons kind of implode too down the stretch.
Falcons were a favorite for a reason, so they're playing the part for sure. Thank you to Bucs Basement for this $10 super chat. Who says, Scott, you are ready to call for Bowles' job after Texans last season. The defense is putrid for a so-called guru. He doesn't course correct, and his clock management is non-existent. Bowles era over.
It can be. It can be this year. It can be over quickly if this does not get fixed. Because again, it's not just he's the head coach; he's the play caller. And if you're out there thinking, we'll turn it over to Larry Foote or turn it over to Casey Rogers, my God, that's not the answer. I'm just telling you right now, that's not the answer. Todd Bowles actually gives this team the best chance to win. It just the changes are too slow. Like when Tyreek Funderburk gives up those first couple of catches, you got to switch him, right? You got to get him out of there and go to Josh Hayes. You can't let mistakes compound, and that's what happens, right? KG Britt's on the field and gives up a huge touchdown to Kyle Pitts that, Funderburk missed him and Winfield missed him and Winfield almost got him at the end, but just too slow to make the necessary changes. I think he trusts too much in himself as a play caller, trusts too much in his players. And you got to send a message sometimes, man. You got to sit there and say, you're not getting the job done. Like stand next to me, and I'm going to give somebody else a shot. And I'm not saying Josh Hayes is the answer by any means, but he looked more competent and credible. I know the Falcons were running the ball more in the second half, so he wasn't under as much fire as Tyreek Funderburk. But yeah, I mean, if the defense does not rectify itself, listen, the Glaziers and Jason Light said they wanted progress. I will define progress, and I think, Matt, you'll agree with me. Progress is 10 wins, right? Yeah. Progress is playoffs and 10 wins. Maybe it doesn't have to be the division, but you have to make the playoffs again, and 10 wins in the regular season is progress. You probably need to win your wild card playoff game, right, to show progress. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know, man. Maybe Liam Cohen is head coach of this team next year. We've seen that happen before with Dirk Cutter replacing Lovie Smith. And in my opinion, Liam Cohen is no Dirk Cutter. Liam Cohen to me is Todd Monken. He's a younger version of Todd Monken. He's a 38-year-old version.
So that was kind of my question. And again, I don't want to jump the gun. Like, I hope the Bucs turn around. We both like Todd Bowles as a person. Like, we hope it turns around. But Mike with Cohen would be like, I'm sure, because it was before I really started at Pewter Report. Like Dirk took over for Lovey. I'm sure everybody was like, Dirk Cutter's the next big. Cutter has to be the coach, and then clearly he wasn't. Like based on what happened. So like, what makes us think that Liam Cohen can be a stout head coach besides, hey, he's doing a good job with the offense? I don't know if there's an exact answer to that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if there was either, but Baker Mayfield, that continuity, the fact that
you got a good thing. You got a good thing on offense, and the NFL, it's driven. And I do agree with a lot of people are like, you can find a defensive coach. Everybody's talking about Robert Saleh already.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brian Gonzalez, thank you for this $1.99 super chats again. KJ sucks and is a big reason why the defense is bad. I mean, it took a Levante David injury to get J.J. Russell onto the damn field. I don't know what else we can do to get J.J. Russell on, but KJ Britt was in the middle of it once again, leaving guys open. I'm surprised the Kirk Cousins didn't further attack KJ Britt with like Bijan Robinson.
He just doesn't make plays. I mean, he made tackles. He had 10 tackles, but three solos, 7 assists. I mean, he's just not a playmaker, right? They don't have a playmaker at linebacker right now, and Levante had 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Not that Levante played bad, didn't play great. It's interesting. Levante David has not talked over the last 2 weeks. The last 2 games, he has refused to talk to the media. That's very unlike Levante David. So, like that, honestly, that might be saying something right there.
I hate to say it, but yeah, he's probably fed up, and he's probably, you know what? He's probably pulling a lethal weapon, being like, "I'm too old for this blank." He probably doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah, Danny
Sergeant
Glover,
Roger Murtaugh. Yeah. I'm getting too old for this.
Yeah, which is a shame because again, I want Levante David to play forever, and also I don't like the number 13.
It feels like it's his last year, right, Matt? It feels like this is Levante's last year, and I think he knows it too. We'll see. Maybe he turns it around, but Father Time is undefeated in the NFL.
Yeah, he even got to Tom Brady, and if it got to Brady, then it can get to anyone. TB12 didn't secure that. Thanks to KGH for Life for the $5 super chat. It says, it's clear Tampa Bay's defense is flawed in some way. This has become a trend, maybe too much communication. I keep going back to if Todd Bowles, and I'm sure he will, and the whole week he'll be like, our issues on defense are communication. Well, whoever is communicating it shouldn't be on the damn field because they can't communicate well enough where you're allowing all these gigantic chunk plays. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about that.
I'm with you, Matt. It's frustrating to watch. I'm a defensive-minded guy myself. I love the safety. I thought that was great today. Not that the Bucs really forced that, but no interceptions from the secondary, from the linebackers. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of money tied up in some of these players, and they're not making plays. And it's the coaches and the players. They're not. And players aren't being put in position to make the plays.
Right. There weren't even throws where like the Bucs came close to intercepting a football. At least it used to be like, well, he dropped this interception and that guy dropped that interception. They're not even getting to that point.
No, they're not.
Which is crazy. I'm sure a lot of Bucs fans would pay to just see Zion McCollum drop an interception.
I know.
Thanks to Cali Bucks, $1.99 super chat says, no goal line shot? Is this high school? Talking about the Winfield forced fumble that was a touchdown for Pitts that could have been a touchback. And you know what? Would that have played a big difference in the game? Well, the final score was 31-26. Probably would have.
Yeah, you take that touchdown off the board, all of a sudden this stadium's ignited. It seems like the Buccaneer fans were just waiting for something to kind of happen today. They took a 14-7 lead. This place was rocking. And then the second quarter happened. Our own Bailey Adams texted me. He says, over the last 3 games, which is 1 win, that win in New Orleans, and 2 losses, the last 2 games here, the Ravens game and the Falcons game, the Buccaneers have been outscored 85-24 in the second and third quarters. So they've gotten off to a hot start. Like the first quarter is not the problem. They're scoring early, but they just kind of like fall apart, and then they're having to play catch up. And remember in New Orleans they were down at halftime and they came alive in the second half. But it's been challenging. All things considered, the offense was good. D was yuck, says Nicola Junstina, $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much. The offense wasn't the problem today. 24 points. If you look around the league, 24 points wins you some games. That New England, the Jets game was 25-22, but that's like right in there. Houston beat Indianapolis 23-20, 24 points, wins that game. Cleveland amazingly beats Baltimore 29-24. We'll see what happens in these later games. 24 points if you have a good defense, not a great defense, a good defense, that wins you the game. 24-21, 24-20. This is not even a good defense. This is a bad defense. This is a bad Buccaneer defense. And you have to start looking at some of these coaches on this staff.
Yeah.
And this staff has been here a long time. Are they getting tuned out? Are they not coming up with things? Are they getting too predictable? I'm not just talking Todd Bowles. I'm talking the assistants as well. Larry Foote is the co-defensive coordinator. Casey Rogers is the co-defensive coordinator. They do a lot of the game planning. Is it getting stale? Is it getting predictable? Right? I mean, that's something that
I think predictability. I think predictability is a big point of this, and I think there's a case to be made. If you took any Bucs defense since Todd Bowles has been here since 2019 up until right now, I think any Todd Bowles defense from last season to 2019, any of those defenses, you put that defense on this year's team with this year's offense.
Oh yeah,
there's a case to be made. The Bucs are like 6-2 now.
Yeah, for sure. But
you can't do that. But
No.
Crazy to think that way. Speaking of thinking, thanks to Cali Bucks for another super chat of $1.99. Says, I don't care what you think you saw. Fake punt on Tampa Bay's 38. I guess Todd Bowles just can't get fake punts going because he tried it with Giovanni Bernard 2 years ago. And then that became a whole separate situation. And then it didn't work today. But yeah, Scott, your thoughts about the fake punt?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because when you want to do a fake punt, you kind of want to do it when they're not expecting it. That's the whole key. You catch them off guard. You only need a few yards. So I can understand the field position here. My gosh, when they did it against the Bengals, they were like their own 20-yard line or something. So you're a little closer to midfield. I understand it. What happened though was against a certain look, they had the fake punt on. It was called on because they got that look. Literally right before the snap, the Falcons made an adjustment. They kind of overloaded that side, and that's the side where Tavierre Thomas was going with the football. And as Todd Bowles said, it literally was too late to call it off. I mean, by the time they made that switch to that side to kind of like overload it or at least balance it out, I have to go back and look at the film, the ball was snapped, right? And then it's just like you just got to like try to get it. And there's a log jam there. Cokeep kind of got piled into Tavierre Thomas, and the play went nowhere. And ironically, Matt, that's the only touchdown the Falcons put on the board in the second half was on that possession.
Yeah, for everything that we didn't like about the Bucs defense, and I hated the last drive too, which ended up in a Falcons missed field goal. Why they didn't have more people up at the line of scrimmage and the linebackers were 10 yards off the ball when everybody saw Kirk Cousins was about to QB sneak it is beyond me.
I know.
Yeah, the only touchdown happened after that fake punt. I don't hate the aggressiveness. I really don't. And it's one of those things, if it works, you're like, wow, Todd Bowles, like, way to dial it up.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't work, it's like, you're a moron. Why would you ever think about doing that? So it's it's a little bit of like a hindsight's 2020 type of thing.
Yeah.
At that point, I would have rather keep the offense on the field, given the situation of the game. But
I know.
It is what it is.
I think going forward, though, I was going to say what I think going forward, this team just needs Celsius, and maybe not even the cans, maybe like injected right into the veins, Matt.
Right. Get an IV for sure. Maybe Celsius can work on that because they're always working on a ton of stuff. They have so many great flavors. So check out Celsius and all of their fantastic flavors, whether it's the Arctic Vibe, my personal favorite, the sparkling watermelon lemonade, the kiwi's great too. So many great flavors, like I mentioned. So if you want to have a Celsius energy drink and you haven't had one before, go to the Celsius store locator on their website, punch in your address, and it'll tell you the closest place where you can pick one up. Could be a Walmart, a health and fitness store, a Publix, a Stop and Shop, or your bodega. And after you love Celsius and you want more, you can buy it in bulk. I'd recommend getting the variety packs. There's so many great flavors of Celsius. You can do that over on Amazon. Do it with the subscribe and save and have it sent to your place of residence whenever you want. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official energy drink of pewterreport.com. Let's keep the super chats rolling in. Thank you very much to everybody. And thank you to Buckin with this $5 super chat who says, despite all with major offensive injuries, a healthy defense with a defensive mastermind is what still cost us this game. What's up with that?
Yeah. Todd Bowles, there's got to be a lot of soul searching, and they're going to have an extra day to try to stop Patrick Mahomes. Let's just say my prop bets with Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts, they kind of paid off today. So
yeah, I went 4-0 in
my
prop bets.
Yeah, I literally won $300 today on several prop
Hell
bets.
yeah.
Some of those were Buccaneer related too. Rashad came through for me big time. But yeah, he's got to get this defense fixed. There's got to be some, come to Jesus meetings amongst the players. This has got to stop because the defense is costing this team games now. We talked about it when they lost to the Falcons in week 5. They gave up 36 points. They had 30 points on the board with Mike and Chris, right? You had Mike contributed a touchdown before he got hurt. Chris Godwin was hell on wheels before he got hurt in that Ravens game. They scored 31 points and they still lost to the Ravens. Now you score 24 out of 26 points on offense. Again, that should be enough to win a game. And it wasn't today. And this is a got to get fixed, or there very well could be a head coaching change next year, because it's the team's better players that aren't getting the job done, Matt, and the coaches have to be somewhat responsible for that as well.
Bulls went 8-9, 9-8. You can't go backwards after that. You just can't.
You can't.
Thanks to Henry Gigante for this 1999 super chat. Todd Bowles' defense is so flawed, man. Todd's coverage schemes and blitz packages don't work. Baker throwing 2 interceptions and misuse of Sean Tucker doesn't help. It's clear Todd Bowles is holding this team back. I'm certainly all for more usage of Sean Tucker. I don't think that's the total reason why the Bucs lost. Again, it's kind of nitpicking with the offense. First game without Mike and Chris, and they still scored 26 points with no help by the defense, by the way. Like, it wasn't like they had good field position or anything.
You give up 4 touchdowns to Kirk Cousins. If you convert 2 of those touchdowns into field goals, you win this game, right? I mean, if you play some red zone defense, if you don't allow the big play, I mean, it's you can't give up 24 points at halftime and expect to win any game. It rarely happens.
Thanks to JD Foster for the $6.99 super chat, who says, hate to say it, but primetime Chiefs at Arrowhead, this weak defense plus all the injuries, I think we might lose by 40 next Monday night, which is crazy too, because the Chiefs, they're undefeated, but their offense has not been spectacular. I know they're in the middle of the game with the Raiders right now. Yeah, this could be, not that Patrick Mahomes needs a breakout game, but I'm going to be very happy having Travis Kelce on my fantasy team next week when he carves up the Buccaneers defense. And again, nobody's coming through that door. There's not going to be some otherworldly change or a trade or anything that's going to be done. These guys have to fix it. The coaches have to fix it. And if it doesn't happen from within, it's, we're going to be talking about the draft by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. The Chiefs are a defensive team. I mean, they really are. Steve Spagnuolo's side of the ball is better than the offense. And that's saying something when you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce there, right? It's not the offense is bad. It's good. But I mean, this defense is top notch. I mean, it's the reason why they won the Super Bowl last year, in my opinion. And you can't expect to put up 24 points without Mike and Chris in this game, right? I mean, coming up. You can do that against Atlanta. Their defense is not the caliber of Kansas City. This is going to have to be a game where, you hold Kansas City to 24 points maybe, and then you need some turnovers, some takeaways. You've got to do something on the defensive side of the ball to help the offense. Short fields, pick sixes, something to help out the offense, because it's not going to be I won't say it was easy today, but I mean, again, they put up 432 yards of offense, and they converted 64% on third down. I mean, those are damn good numbers. I don't know that that's going to happen against this defense next week in Kansas City. So the defense has got to come to play and help out the offense even more than it has lately.
No doubt about it. Thanks to Matt K91 for a $20 super chat. Says, year 5 of Bowles defense and miscommunication is still an issue. How does that happen? A lot of these players have been here for years and played together. The pass rush is what it is, and see no way the defense gets better.
Yeah. I wish I knew. I think communication is code for a lot of things with Todd Bowles, and we're going to continue to press him at the press conferences this week, and we'll try to drill down exactly what he means by communication. I think that's his catch-all answer for I'm not going to tell you, like I know, but I'm not going to share it.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it means. So don't take it for face value. It means a lot of things. But at least he made some changes today. It was too little too late with the cornerback situation. And again, that's Todd's fault. I'm not giving him credit for that because it happened too late in the game. You've got to be more reactive. Right. This is an adjustment game. The teams that make the quicker, better adjustments win. And that has been the Falcons in both of these games, and that's why they won.
Yeah, and Bowles hasn't really made any. Liam Cohen has, but Todd Bowles has not.
Right.
Thanks to Jake Van Soest for this $4.99 super chat. The defense is reminiscent of Mike Smith. Wow. Yep. You know what? I still remember I was driving to the facility when Mike Smith got fired as defensive coordinator. And then I recklessly, as I was driving, was updating our tweet deck being like, Mike Smith got fired. But yeah, I still remember that moment. On a positive note, the offensive line is starting to gel. The offensive line is the strongest unit of this entire team right now, which is crazy to think given, our expectations at the beginning of the season. So yeah, I mean, if you have a great offensive line, you can get away with not having Mike and Chris. It certainly doesn't make you a better team, but you can get away with it if you stick to this running game. And I think the Bucs, and you see it from time to time with teams around the league and in the NFL and college, there are some teams that are only built to play like when it's tied or with the lead and they can't come from behind. The Bucs may have to be one of those teams now without Mike Evans, where find a lead or keep it close so you can stick to that run game and essentially run out the clock, and hopefully you have more points than the other team. Thanks to JD Foster for the $6.99 super chat. The uncomfortable elephant in the room discussion is Baker and his turnovers and dumb decisions in crucial areas of the field. It's frustrating me now.
Yeah, maybe the worst interception today was the shot to Ryan Miller off the flea flicker. I would say that's probably the worst of the two. The other play was just a great play by A.J. Terrell, and it was a great play by Jesse Bates too. Sometimes you got to give the other guys credit. He threw a jump ball to Ryan Miller, gave him a chance, and it didn't work out. But the other one, A.J. Terrell, fell off of his guy and broke on the ball and made a great play. And, A.J. Terrell is a first-round pick. He's a great player too. So I wouldn't say these were boneheaded decisions by Baker. You obviously don't want him to throw interceptions, but it wasn't like Baker Mayfield stunk today. 37-50 for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. 94.6 quarterback rating. He wasn't the reason why they lost. The turnover. See, here's the thing. He wasn't the reason why they lost. The turnover margin was a big reason, though. And
correct.
You're gonna have a quarterback that's gonna take some chances. You've got to, as a defense, you've got to even that out. You've got to make some plays. And this defense is not making plays. There's no sack fumbles. There's no interceptions. Right. There was really a safety on an unforced error. It was a bad handoff from Kirk Cousins to Tyler Algier. And granted, they capitalized on it, but that, you got to fall in the end zone on that ball. And that's a touchdown rather than 2. And you win the game, or at least it's tied. Right. So I don't know. I'm not ready to say Baker Mayfield was the reason why they lost today. I don't think that was the case.
I don't think that was the case either. As I've kind of already said, the defense is the bigger issue. With that said, I'm not concerned yet. But if he has another 2 interception game against the Chiefs, and I get it, difficult environment, all that stuff related, then I will start to be a little concerned because it can't keep going on this way. It can't.
Yeah, I will say this. We've had a lot of great success with Autograph. You guys are doing a great job of downloading this app. It's free to use, free to download from the App Store. What is Autograph? It's a great resource for you. If you're a sports fan, if you're a Buccaneer fan, if you have your favorite college team, you download the app. It's called Autograph Fan and Rewarded. You can do it for Apple on the App Store. You can do it for Android phones on Google Play. Download it for free. Use it for free. When you sign up, use the promo code Pewter, and it's going to ask you, what are your favorite teams? And you're going to punch those teams in. It's going to give you all of the news from a multitude of sources, including Pewter Report for the Buccaneers. We're prominently featured. And here's the best part. You earn points for reading our content and the content of other outlets. And you get even more points when you watch our Pewter Report podcast videos on Autograph as well, because they're on there. What do you do with those points? Well, you can cash them in for merch and for tickets to games. It's that cool. You actually get rewarded for consuming our content on Autograph. Think of it as the app that Pewter Report doesn't have. And it's also co-founded by Tom Brady, legendary Bucs Super Bowl MVP quarterback, who apparently also played for the Patriots. I think that's the case. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I know he played for the Buccaneers. So make sure you download Autograph and also use promo code Pewter to sign up. That gives us credit and says, hey, Pewter Report referred Autograph to me, and I'm going to give these guys some credit. So we greatly appreciate that you guys have come out in droves for that. Do it right now. Do it today. It's a great way to enjoy your content about your favorite teams and a multitude of different sports, all in one app. Autograph, free to use too. You can't beat that.
No, you cannot. Thanks to Amazement717 for this $9.99 super chat. It says, what frustrates me the most is Bowles' nonsensical aggression. Not going for it before the half to keep Atlanta from tacking on more points to an awful, unnecessary fake punt. Just so inconsistent coaching-wise.
Yeah,
that is true. There are times he's aggressive.
Yeah. Yep.
There's times he's aggressive. I'm like, yeah, Todd, good job. And then, I don't know, all of a sudden it just blows up.
Matt, it's one thing to be unpredictable and to be successful being unpredictable, right? To go against the grain and go against predictability. But it's another thing when you're unpredictable and it just works against you. And I think that's kind of what's happening with Bolts now, unfortunately.
I don't know if they're number one in this category, but they are one of the most chaotic teams in football.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
It's like the car crash that you can't turn away from. It's why people watch NASCAR and these things. It's like,
and every game is like, for an NFL fan, every game is very entertaining because it's high scoring. The over is hit in their last 5 games now. Their last 5 games, the over is hit. So it's
speaking of the last 5 games, Matt.
Jordan Ridgeway, thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Says last 4 games, defense gave up 36, 27, 41, and 31 points. We've lost 3 of those, and our offense was solid in all of them, turning into Mike Smith 2.0. It's becoming that way. It's
also dangerous too. I mean, we've kind of now talked about Mike Smith, and who was the general manager here when Mike Smith was here? Jason Light. Who's the ownership group that was here when Mike Smith was here? The Glaziers. Yeah. So they don't want to see Mike Smith 2.0, and I don't think they're going to allow it to continue. If this defense does not get fixed this year, it very well could cost Todd Bowles his job, especially when you have he got fired in season, and if that were to happen, I don't think it's going to be the case. If that were to happen, then you'd probably have Liam Cohen as your head coach and Larry Foote probably as the defensive coordinator. But I don't think it's going to happen. The Glaziers have never fired a head coach in season. And Todd Bowles, to his credit, turned this thing around last year at 4-7. We'll see what happens. They're 4-4 right now. Who knows what's going to happen down the stretch? But we'll be here to analyze it, entertain, and inform you on everything Buccaneers throughout the entire season. Don't give up on these guys yet. We'll see what happens.
Who knows? Maybe they beat the Chiefs. Chiefs are due for a loss, and they're up 17-10 on the Raiders. So,
that's quite the prediction, man.
And you know what? The chaos of the Bucs, wouldn't it make sense that they would beat the Chiefs and then lose all these other disgusting games that they've lost?
Yeah.
Thanks to Hammy Actual for this $4.99 super chat. It says it definitely sucked. They didn't overturn that. I think talking about the Winfield play, but that wasn't some kind of defensively sound play. It was just Pitts being a dullard. Spot on. The Bucs shouldn't. Winfield should be rewarded for the hustle, but the Bucs shouldn't be rewarded for getting bailed out on just a bad play by them.
I agree. JD Foster. Yep.
Thank you for the $2.79 super chat. Says also never wear cream schools ever again. Garbage them. I don't know. They're very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I'm about over him, to be honest. Like, I get the novelty. To me, the novelty's wearing off. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm probably in the minority on that. It's just, here's the thing. If you're going to wear them next year, if you're going to trot them out, my God, man, you got to wear them against the Panthers. It's just
play them against the Panthers. You're guaranteed to play them on the schedule. I haven't looked. So, I don't know who their 2025 opponents are, but I know they're playing the Panthers, Saints, and everyone else.
If you can't beat the Panthers in the Creamsicles at home next
year, retire them.
Then you need to burn them. You need to just bonfire them and just get rid of them. But the novelty's worn off of me. I'm sorry. Y'all can enjoy it if you want. Do they look cool? Sure, but nothing beats red and pewter to me. I'm sorry.
The Glazer family should put out a statement, like when they put out a statement with anything that they do, just be like, we are wearing the Creamsicles against the Panthers, and if they lose, we will never wear them again. Or we won't wear them for like 10. Put a 10-year ban on them or something.
Put a 10-year ban. I agree. Self-imposed 10-year ban. Yep, I agree.
Yes. All right. We found a solution. And
yes.
We'll take on it. Thanks to Desert Dog 2K for this $5.01 super chat. Says, any other guru this bad at their job would have been canned long ago. I stick with my opinion. Should have been gone after Rams debacle. Bodega.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You have to give Todd Bowles credit. He righted the ship last year. The defense got better down the stretch. It was a big reason why they won some of those games. I don't know what has happened with this collapse, and I don't think Todd Bowles knows either. That's the scary thing. I don't think Todd Bowles knows, because you've got some guys that have been in his scheme. And say what you want about Levante David. He's 34 years old. Jordan Whitehead is still in his prime. Antoine Winfield Jr. is still in his prime. Yep. These safeties are not making plays. And KJ Britt is not a player. Kalijah Kancey, Yaya Diaby, just about invisible. I'm about ready to take not just Bowles, but these assistant coaches to task, because I don't know that they're getting coached up the right way. They're not getting any better. It's not showing up on Sundays.
I was laughing at this comment that just came up right now. Thanks to Jacob. Wolfskill for this $4.99 super chat. Nothing better than dropping Kancey into coverage multiple times. I get the element of surprise, but it's not surprising anymore because they do it way too much. Like whether it's Kancey or even the outside linebackers, I know like they're coached to do both, but who the hell wants to see Yaya Diaby dropping back in coverage?
Not me.
Nobody wants to do that.
Not me.
Thanks to Buckin for this $2 super chat. Time to retire the creamsicle? Look like the 76 Bucs. Yeah, we kind of just talked about that. Play it next year against the Panthers, and if you lose, 10-year ban. That's our official statement.
I agree.
Thanks to Corey Hall for this $1.99 super chat. JTS can't pass rush, can't set the edge. Why is he playing? It's been a steep drop-off from the beginning of the year where Joe Tryanchenko at one point was the best outside linebacker for the Bucs, and then he's been persona non grata the past couple of weeks, just MIA.
JJ Russell, and you'll do snap counts tomorrow morning, Matt. JJ Russell played a handful of plays, right? Levante came back in the game. JJ Russell had a tackle. Joe Tryanchenko did not even make the stat sheet. That means no pass breakups, no tackles for loss, no quarterback hits, nothing, no tackles.
Got a good workout.
I guess so. Maybe he got some cardio in today. I don't know.
Yeah, got some cardio. Thanks to Jordan Ridgeway for this $9.99 super chat. KJ Britt might lose a 40-yard dash to Tom Brady. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think the Bucs look to upgrade this position? Yes. Now, or is this lack of faith in Bowles holding back the front office? Interesting.
The front office doesn't make the call on who plays. That's the coach general manager agreement. That's the handshake. And it's not just in Tampa, it's every team. General manager is responsible for putting the 90 guys on the field at training camp. The coach is responsible with input from the general manager. Most coaches have the say-so on the top 53, the 53 players that make the roster. And I would say, 99% of the time, Jason Light is in agreement with his coaches, whether it's Dirk Cutter, whether it's Bruce Arians, whether it's Todd Bowles, on what those 53 players are. They usually work in concert, in conjunction, in synchronicity, in harmony about that. But Jason Light is not going to sit there and tell Todd Bowles, you need to play J.J. Russell and bench KJ Britt. That's not his job. That's not his role. Now, what Jason Light can do is not re-sign KJ Britt next year. Okay. And that's what happened with Devin. That's what happened with Devin White. Devin White didn't get re-signed, and Todd Bowles wanted Devin White back this year, probably, when Devin was cut by the Eagles. And it wasn't going to happen. That bridge has been burned. And so that's where Jason Light can come in if Todd Bowles is still the head coach next year and say, no, we're not re-signing KJ Britt. That's not your call, Todd. This is the offseason. Now I get to play, boss. And at the end of the day, it's Jason Light's team. He's going to decide if Todd Bowles stays or not. We'll see. A lot of football left to be played. This team is 4-4. We have to keep that in perspective. Yeah. And Todd did turn this team around. So we need to let this thing play out and see what's going to happen. Who knows what's going to happen down the stretch? But we're going to be here to report it. Yeah. Yeah,
we sure are. And not over just yet. We have to see it play out. And I will declare when it's over, but it's not over yet. Yeah. Good question from Cam. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat, who says, if BA was the head coach, would this past season look different? Or maybe you mean this season. I can tell you one thing. If Baker and BA were working hand in hand, they would need like their own reality TV show.
Yeah.
Because they would be the best of buddies.
Yeah, they would. I don't know. See, because I'm a believer that BA's system, and this is no disrespect to Bruce Arians, just like I don't want to, there's no disrespect to Monty Kiffin, but there's a reason why the cover two had an expiration date as a base defense. There's a reason why the Arians vertical attack has had an expiration date, right? The Bill Walsh, which John Gruden won a Super Bowl here with, that West Coast offense, right, is not what it used to be. Teams figure things out, and you always have to come up with new things. Sometimes you can even dive in the past. We're seeing a resurgence in the ground game, Matt, because this is kind of on the cusp of still being a pass-first league. But we're seeing teams run the ball like crazy now more than ever because it became so pass heavy.
I love seeing it. Not gonna lie,
I do too. I do too. I love the running game. So having said that, would you rather have Bruce Arians in 2024, not the 2020 BA, not the 2021 BA, but Bruce Arians and his offense in 2024, or would you rather have Liam Cohen at age 38?
Right.
It's always been a young man's game on the field, and in a lot of ways, it's a young man's game in the coaching ranks too. You look around the league, and a lot of the best coaches are under the age of 50. Todd Bowles is 60; he'll be 61 in a month or so. Bruce Arians is 70 now? Going to be 70. So I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know how different this team would be as a head coach, as a game manager on Sundays. I'll take BA, yeah. But with his offense and all of that, I don't know. I mean, I think that offense, the expiration date was 2022 for that offense.
I think BA could kind of maybe will the team to a couple of differences, because he does chew out guys where Todd Bowles doesn't. And it's just, different philosophy in that way. I think that can help. But offensively, the Bucs are in a good spot offensively. Baker's made some mistakes. It's not perfect, but overall, there are many other teams in the NFL that are struggling on offense compared to what Tampa Bay is doing. Thanks to Buckin for this $2 super chat. Why not trade for a star if we rely on the pass rush? Draft picks.
Draft picks, and who are you going to get? Myles Garrett, the Ravens.
Hassan Reddick,
the Browns are not going to trade.
At this point.
Yeah. There's really nobody out there that's going to really, I think, change what's happening in Tampa Bay. And I don't know. It's the coverage more so than the pass rush, although the pass rush was not there today, even more glaringly than it's been absent in other times. It just at least you had guys chasing Lamar Jackson last week, right? On Monday night. I don't think that there was a lot of guys that got near Kirk Cousins today, and that was the disappointing thing. Speaking of disappointing, Joel L. Rican with the $2 super chat. Only one word comes to mind: disappointing. That's exactly right.
We skipped over Jordan Ridgeway, I think. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat. Yes, Joel L. Rican, you are spot on with that. But Jordan says, if they promote Cohen, not counting Bowles out yet, though, would you recommend they go out and get a more
senior, not
defensive
Scott Reynolds.
coordinator? Yeah. Sorry, I saw SR.
Yeah.
I was looking at another super chat where SR is mentioned, a solid type. I think, and again, I don't want this to be the case, but if it is the case that Liam Cohen ends up being the head coach, and this is hypothetical, purely hypothetical, Robert Saleh makes perfect sense as the defensive coordinator, given their NFC West history. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. And, if this was Pop Warner, I might come out of retirement and do a little defensive coordinator business. But this is the NFL; it's a way above my pay grade, and I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator by any means. But yeah, Robert Saleh, I would co-sign that for sure. I think he's a hell of a defensive play caller out there with the 49ers.
Love the super chat from Jordan Ridgeway. I can't say your name. I'm so sorry. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat. It says something positive. Got to give SR his props. He's the light of journalism. Mark Cook equals Mike Evans. Sycamore equals Jameis. Ledyard equals Brady. Matera equals Baker. LOL. Anyway, love the pod. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for the kind words. I wouldn't put Trevor as Jameis. I would put Trevor as like either Chris Godwin or even like a Rondé Barber type of thing. He is the one Tampa local in all of this, but everything else spot on. I am glad to take up.
But he's funny as shit. I think that's what.
Yes,
I think that's what.
Yeah,
it is.
He is funny as shit.
Yeah, and really, if you're looking for more of like a spot on Sycamore, and it might be a little bit of a stab to Tampa Bay fans now, but he's really more of a Stamkos than anything else. He's a dead ringer for Steven Stamkos.
Yes.
R.I.P. Stamkos, who's now a Nashville Predator. But yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to work with some great people at Pewter Report. It's my job try to find talent. I love our roster right now, and I think we've got some real stars at Pewter Report, and we've had some great stars. Jen Elaine at ESPN worked for Pewter Report for a while too. So been blessed to work with a lot of great people. John Ledyard, Mark Cook, the late great Mark Cook, Matt Matera, Trevor Sycamore, Adam Slavon, Bailey Adams. We had some great interns at Andrew Scavelli, Eric Delarada. The list goes on and on. Josh Capo has been phenomenal. You talk about the growth of Capo, the rise of Capo as a cap guy and a football analyst. It's been fun to see. I've always wanted to be like Wolverine, and I guess maybe I never age a little bit, but I'm feeling more like Professor X these days. And I've got like my X-Men, not confined to a wheelchair yet. I'm not as smart as Professor X is, but it's a great superhero squad we have. And I love working with these guys. They do a great job for you guys. And I love you, Pewter people. More than anything, you guys have helped grow Pewter Report into an absolute empire, and it starts with our Pewter people. And tomorrow's not going to be a Victory Monday, but damn it, it's going to be a Monday show. That means roll call. We're back to Monday, so we'll do roll call. I know we skipped it on Tuesday, but we're back to doing roll call tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned at 4:00 on Pewter Report TV. We have to give a shout out to our Pewter Platinum members, as we always do: Scott Federico, Rathel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson. And we have one more that I forgot to put on here, and I'm going to get that right tomorrow. So we have 6 Pewter Platinum members. Greatly appreciate everybody here: Pewter Pro, Pewter People, Pewter Platinum, Pewter Premier. All you guys have done a tremendous job, and we appreciate those super chats as well.
Yes, so thankful to everybody. You had great words as well, Scott. So I'll just say I'm grateful to be at Pewter Report, and I'm a huge fan of our team as well. We keep it fun. We keep it interesting with the Bucs. When they're great, it's great. Sometimes they don't play as well, and we still make it newsworthy and interesting. So anyway, moving on with the super chats. Thank you to Todd Pittner for the $4.99 super chat. We really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thanks to Trey Alderson Cloutier for the $1.99 super chat, saying fire Todd Bowles. Not the first one to say that. You're not going to be the last one to say it either. A lot of people feel very passionately about that. And Scotty J, thanks for the $1.99 super chat, says 0 turnovers. We're 5-1. Got to stop. Offense lost it.
And I'll say this: the defense also lost it too. You got to get some takeaways, and that's something that the Buccaneers haven't done these last couple of games. And and it's really cost them, and I will say this: the good thing about Mondays, aside from our Pewter Report Monday podcast that you can find here on Pewter Report TV, is you can go to walk-ons because they have one hell of a happy hour.
What an amazing comeback, Coach.
You're not kidding. I mean, we did lose the game badly, but coming to walk-ons afterward, the team got a much-needed win off the field.
Walk-ons for the win.
That's right. You are a winner every Monday when you show up at 3 o'clock because you get the best happy hour in the Tampa Bay area. And walk-ons is also across the country, too. So check out walkons.com for a location near you. We talk about the Tampa locations because, hey, why not? We're Tampa-based. They have 3 locations to serve you in Lakeland, in Wesley Chapel, by my neck of the woods. Matt has got a location right by him in Tampa, Midtown Tampa. It's just down the street from the stadium. And from 3 to close tomorrow, that includes Monday Night Football, you can get some inflation-busting prices for your drinks and starters. $3 happy hour pours, $3.99 domestic pints, $4 house wine, $5.49 22-ounce domestic drafts, and a bunch of great food options for $6, $7, and $8. Tuesday, if you can't make happy hour tomorrow, we'll get there on Tuesday. That's the day I like to go because you have all-day happy hour from start to close, including $5 Tito's. You get a pair of happy hours on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 6 and 9 to close, and Fridays from 3 to 6. Folks, if you have not been to walk-ons yet, their food is amazing. They have TVs galore. It's a great place to watch the sports, whether it's football or UFC, soccer, NBA, NHL, whatever, baseball, World Series. Try walk-ons. Make this the week that you give walk-ons a try. You're not going to be disappointed. Great drinks, great menu. Find out the driving directions and the menu at walkons.com.
100%. Was just there on Thursday. Had a fantastic time and can't wait to go back again. So make sure you check out Walk-Ons. And then, of course, please make sure you're following us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. So please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video as well. So that's going to do it for us on this Pewter post-game show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.